Women by the lake, early 1900s. They gathered at the water's edge on a summer afternoon no one planned to remember. The laughter carried across the lake. Whatever came after, the camera held this much back. Madame Lou Bunch, Central City. When the epidemic arrived, she closed the books and opened the doors. A frontier madam, nursing dying miners, asked nothing in return. The gold rush built legends. Compassion built this one quietly. Young Benj Mikan, 1890s portrait. Someone dressed this boy in lace and buttons meant for a man twice his age. He wore the suit like a promise to himself. The camera caught him mid-ambition, before the world weighed in. 2 unidentified women, 1890s. No names, no record. Just 2 faces, holding still long enough for silver and light to preserve them. They didn't know they'd outlast everyone who ever knew their names. They did. 2 ladies, 1870s portrait. The exposure required them to remain perfectly still for several seconds. Composure was not a choice, but a technical necessity. Beneath the stillness, something lived that the lace was designed to conceal. 2 women on penny farthings, 1890s. Women weren't supposed to ride them. The height alone was considered dangerous. The laughter tumbling down that quiet street belonged to 2 people who had already decided what the rules were worth. Frances Willard, learning to ride a bicycle, age 53. She learned to ride at 53 and wrote a book about it. Not about cycling, about what the bicycle unlocked. Balance was the smallest thing she found. Liberation was the word she used. Sanitary Commission Fair, New York, April 1864. The Civil War was consuming the continent. Inside that fairground, volunteers sold ice cream beneath patriotic bunting. Comfort and catastrophe occupied the same building. The line for ice cream was long. McCord Stewart Museum, 1870 to 1872. The world between 1870 and 1872 was rebuilding from wars, absorbing new technologies, and photographing itself for the first time with any regularity. These artifacts caught modernity mid-breath, between what it was and what it intended. Joan Miro's studio, Palma de Mallorca, 1976. Architect Joseph Louis Sut designed the light before he designed the walls. Miro needed Mediterranean sun at specific angles to paint what he painted. The studio was not a room, it was an instrument. Leicester Square, London, 1938. The neon was new and the crowds were dressed for an evening out. Nobody photographed a city preparing for war. They photographed a city trying very hard not to think about it. The Public Enemy, 1931. The rain in that film is never just rain. James Cagney moved through wet streets with the certainty of someone who understood that the city belonged to whoever was willing to take it. Victoria Station, London, 1934, Otto Bettman. Bettman photographed the station as an organism, steam, iron, footsteps, and the particular loneliness of public departure. 3 years later, he fled Nazi Germany, carrying his photo archive in 2 showboxes. He saved everything. Glendale Station at twilight, 1955, Richard Steinheimer. Steinheimer chased trains the way some photographers chase light. He found both here, a lone figure, cooling locomotives, and a golden era already dimming. The automobile had already won. He documented the losing side. The Lykov family found in Siberia, 1978. Soviet geologists stumbled into a family that had been living in the taiga since 1936, raising children who had never seen another human being. The youngest daughter had been born in the wilderness. She thought they were alone on Earth. Joseph Gutman and Master Sergeant William Best, Christmas Eve 1948. Best liberated him. Then he adopted him. That embrace on Christmas Eve 1948 compressed the entire distance between liberation and belonging into one moment no caption can fully hold. George Metesky Pipe Bomb, Times Square, December 1956. For 17 years, the Mad Bummer planted devices across New York and wrote letters explaining exactly why. Police caught him after a psychiatrist profiled him from the letters. Forensic psychology began here, essentially. The Endurance crushed in Antarctic ice, 1915. Shackletoe's ship was pressed from both sides over months until the hull gave way. The men watched it sink. Then they dragged lifeboats across ice for months toward an island nobody knew to look for. Joe Arady in Colorado's gas chamber, 1939. He was intellectually disabled, almost certainly innocent, and spent his last night playing with a toy train given to him by the warden. Colorado issued a posthumous pardon in 2011. He had died smiling. French legionnaires marching to Eastern Front, April 1942. They marched toward the Soviet front in French uniforms under a German command structure, carrying ideological commitments the battlefield would quickly test. Most would not return. The flags went with them anyway. Soviet Typhoon-class submarine under construction, 1970s. At 175 meters long, the Typhoon remains the largest submarine ever built. Twin pressure hulls, 20 ballistic missiles, and an interior swimming pool. The Cold War's logic built cathedrals in the dark. Polish colonial demands, 1930s. Poland declared independence in 1918, absorbed its own contested borders through 1921, and by the 1930s was demanding overseas colonies it had no realistic mechanism to acquire. The banners flew regardless. The ambition was entirely sincere. Soviet troops enter Western Belarus, September 17, 1939. 2 weeks after Germany invaded from the west, the Soviets arrived from the east. The newspapers distributed that day described it as liberation. The villages holding them were about to discover what that meant. Young Stepan Bandera in scout uniform, circa 1930. He wore the uniform of organized youth before organizing something far more consequential. The boy in the photograph and the figure history argues about are the same person, at very different distances from his choices. 7-year-old George Clooney, with family, 1968. Nothing in this frame suggests what's coming. Small-town Kentucky. A family arranged for a photograph, a boy with an easy smile. Hollywood was not yet a possibility. It was barely a direction. Native islanders with captured Japanese weapons, Guadalcanal, November 1942. They had watched the battle reshape their island for months. When it turned, they stood beside the captured weapons and smiled the particular smile of people who had endured something the cameras arrived too late to record fully. Australian Crusader tank, 9th Division, North Africa. The 9th Division fought at El Alamein under Monty and kept moving. Inside the tank, the crew operated in heat that reached 70 degrees Celsius, navigating by compass across terrain with no landmarks and no mercy. Finnish soldier over executed Red Army prisoners, Olenets Isthmus, 1942. The snow absorbed everything it was asked to absorb. The photograph exists because someone pressed the shutter. What it documents falls between military record and atrocity evidence. The line between them was never fixed. USM 7 Priest firing at Catmon Hill, Letter, 1944. The 105 mm howitzer could fire 40 pounds of steel 6 miles. On Letter it fired point-blank into hillsides where Japanese defenders had dug positions no frontal assault could reach.